right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
Welcome on in, everybody. NorCal Sports Network. What a ball game tonight. What a ball game. Warriors played the game of the year pretty much from the late first quarter. Take the lead, never relinquish it. We're going to get into all the details tonight, but first let us thank our sponsor, as always, of this show, Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, located in Marin, licensed in all of California. Give Chapman Law Group a call. What's the number? 415-613-9483. Chapman Law Group. You got a personal injury situation, you got a family member, a friend, they've been in a recent accident, don't settle with the insurance company until you call Chapman Law Group. Let them know, NorCal Sports Network. All right, Lou, what a ball. We'll have Frank Red joining us in about 30 minutes as he was watching the ball game with a friend. This was a heck of a ball game tonight. Steph, the chef, puts on a show, and Pods, what an amazing night, hits 8 threes. And, you know, the 8 threes he hit were all nothing but net. He just like, poof. Jimmy Butler came to play. Draymond was a little bit out of sync for a while. It was kind of like, does he just want to sit there and kind of bow down to his buddy LeBron and just say, hey, I'm intimidated by you? But he comes on in the fourth quarter, hits a big 3, and, of course, wraps up the Defensive Play of the Year on national TV with that strip of Luka. That was just, you know, that was just unbelievable. His hands are so quick, and he got nothing but ball. There was nothing that Luka could do. Luka couldn't even whine on that one. I mean, are the Lakers, I mean, I like to call them the fakers, right? With an F, fakers, because they are a bunch of fakers. We saw LeBron go down again in the first quarter, and I thought, oh my goodness, that dude ought to be out of the game the way he's acting. I thought he's definitely dramatized. I got to believe LeBron didn't get enough love or something as a kid, because he acts like he needs all the attention in the world. I mean, this guy's got more attention focused on him, and it's still not enough. I mean, this guy's he's unbelievable, Lou. I've never seen a guy cry wolf like he's dying on the court, and then nothing wrong with him.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is Warriors are a horrible matchup for the Lakers. Horrible. I think the only thing really the Lakers really did, and it was more the late in the third and the fourth, is they realized they could take Post anytime they wanted, and Post sort of got in the wrong area, and they kept taking advantage of it. But beside that, I just think it's a real bad matchup, especially when Luka's not hitting. I mean, to tell you the truth, if it wasn't for Reeves having an incredible fourth quarter, it wouldn't have been that close. Hey, listen, huge win. I don't know about game of the year. I mean, I know that our producer thinks it might have been the greatest game he's seen in 10 years. Guys, regular season, great games don't happen until the playoffs. But I will say one thing. This might have been the best I've ever seen of Potts. I mean, I think you bring up a great point. First of all, anyone that goes 8 for 10 from three-point land, anyone has an incredible night. I mean, I don't know too many times Steph goes 8 for 10. 80%, and you bring up a great point, all net, and probably 3 of them he probably shouldn't have shot. But I thought this might have been his best game of the season, Pods, because they needed him, especially where you got to remember the Warriors had a big lead at half, and then it started fading. It fading.
That shot? How about that shot to end the half?
Oh, end the half, yeah. That 3-point, you forget about it because It's a lot different when you're up 13 than 10. And you know what's weird is there's always, it seems to be when we do a post-game show, there's always that one shot that leads to something. And, another huge momentum at the end. We probably had about 3 of the last 6 games were all shots that counted at the end of the half. But overall, I thought a real nice win. I thought tonight was a total team effort. I think, you bring up a great point about Green. But, when it counted, boy, he was there defensively. And it was all quick hands. It wasn't about getting a big rebound. It was being in the right place at the right time. And when somebody goes in and you have Butler on one side and you have Green on the other, you're almost just asking to be taken away because Butler is such a great defender. And with Green there, it's almost, don't come in the land, just, shoot the threes. So overall, I thought a great game.
There was a wild sequence there. I think it was the start of the game. It was like 5 straight threes.
Yeah.
And then at the end, the guys are just raining down threes. I'll tell you what, you don't see those kind of shot making in the WNBA.
Well, that's
teams
obvious.
Are flying up and down. But I got to say,
and you know what I thought was great tonight too? The game on national TV. I love those announcers.
Reggie and Harlan.
Harlan. They make the game another level. I mean, and they were saying he's definitely defensive player of the year. And again, they love the Warriors, and the Warriors deserve the love, especially on this game. And I give a lot of credit to Reeves. He had a sort of a off night. I mean, without Reeves, they get blown out by 25. I don't think LeBum. I mean, he did hit that clutch 3 in the end when him and Steph were sort of going back and forth. But
that was pretty fun.
Yeah,
that was fun. Hey, look,
an all-star game. That's what
I gotta disagree with one point you said is that great games. Yes, great games in the playoffs, but you can have a great regular season game.
It is LA.
This was a huge game. Warriors lose this game tonight, they fall to the 8th seed. That's how big of a game it was for the Warriors. Now they have a slim shot, but a shot at the 3 seed. Let's first pull up the box score.
Yeah, there
Take a look at the box score because Jonathan Kuminga showed up huge tonight.
Yeah, Kuminga, and I didn't even know he was going to be playing. I thought it was a game time decision. And I love that Steve Kerr listens to you, Dan, because your boy came in, Buddy Hield 0 for 3, and then we didn't see him anymore.
Good, because Buddy was awful when road buddy and home buddy, different buddies.
Different. Oh yeah, I just wanted to make sure they obviously listen to the show.
Yeah, I mean, Buddy at home, he's your buddy. On the road, he's the opposing team's buddy. Okay,
there you go. Good call.
He is awful on the road, just awful. I don't know what it is. I mean, he's had a few games, but he just needs to sometimes move the ball one more pass. But Buddy gets the ball, and he's got a slight opening with 8 seconds left on the 3-point shot. He's got to hoist it because he thinks, it's true. The comments that Jimmy Butler said after a postgame about 2 weeks ago, he said after Jimmy got a triple-double, he said, Buddy was joking with him, and Jimmy sent back, he says, you don't pass the ball enough to get a triple-double. and it's true. Man, Buddy, come on. Dude, quit trying to think you're Steph out there. You're not, okay? This box score, let's take a quick look at it. As we see, Curry led the way with 37 points. He was 13 of 14. He got some love tonight from the free throw line. Finally, they let him actually get more shots than Reeves or James. James and Reeves had only 11 free throws combined. And if you add Lucas, I mean, the Lakers got 20 of 23. The Warriors were from the free throw line 26 of 31, 8 more attempts. I'll tell you what. You know what the great equalizer is between the Warriors and the Lakers? You want to know what the great equalizer is? Anybody? Before I spit it out? It's no AD,
Oh yeah,
no
nobody in the
Anthony
middle
Davis
dominate.
on the Lakers makes the Warriors, I think, a better team than the Lakers. Because Luka's a cone on defense. Let's just come on.
It's a bad matchup for the Lakers. I completely agree.
You put Steph on Luka, and he just puts him through the washing machine. Okay. LeBron plays defense when he feels like playing defense and when he really wants to play. But he's not capable of playing 40 minutes of tough defense because he's going to
There
take
you
plays
go.
off.
40 minutes,
He's
the
gonna,
total game. Sure. Agree.
Yeah. He's not, he's, and this is, you can drive on him. You could kick out. Now, granted, if the Warriors don't make their shots, they're probably going to lose a lot to the Lakers because what were the Warriors tonight from three-point land? Well, they were 19 of 42, 45%. That's about what they're going to need to do. They shoot 35%.
Yeah.
I don't know if they win this game, because ball bounces long, Laker fast break, you get the crowd into it, all that stuff. Warriors rebounded well tonight. They had a total of 32 defensive rebounds, 14 offensive rebounds for a total of 46. Lakers had 39. So the Warriors, they each had 14 offensive rebounds, but on the defense, the Warriors were able to gobble up those rebounds. Quentin Post, like you mentioned, he didn't really have it tonight. I think the Warriors can expose and I can always tell, it feels like I can tell when the Warriors are going to win when they talk to Steve Kerr just by his mannerisms. He had a confidence about him tonight that was like, we're ready to play and we got a game plan that is going to be enough to beat this team. And so give it up for the Warriors. It was an exciting game. It was a must-win game. So, I just think when I watched Kuminga play tonight, to me, this was huge because would you not agree, Lou? This is like a playoff game in many ways, in that the importance of it. You probably have a little more.
I think the importance was
defense.
huge. And I think the Warriors getting Kuminga, I wasn't expecting Kuminga. So it was a huge, it's one of those things. The Warriors have the advantage because they have Kuminga back. So they have an ace in the hole there that the Lakers probably weren't ready for.
Wait till we get GP2 back, hopefully, for the playoffs.
Yeah. And you got to remember, the Lakers still don't really have a center. Davis really dominated, but without him and that big presence, I mean, it's completely different. Completely different. Yeah, let's take a look.
Look at those standings. I mean, is the Suns? I don't think the Suns make it without KD, but the Mavericks with AD back, they're playing a little better.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you see last night he got hit, blood everywhere, and he still shows up.
Yeah. Here's the thing: tomorrow night's game is of huge importance now because you could actually catch the Nuggets in the loss column, and the Nuggets seem to be doing weird things, like just losing to the Spurs the other night at home.
Yeah, well, they did set all 5 starters, as we pointed out.
Yeah,
the other night. The one thing too I wanted to bring up, Dan, that I didn't bring up before, and it's amazing with one guy, Butler, but all early season before Butler got here, we always had a problem on the free throws. And I wanted to bring up our last game. We were 21 for 21. Today we were 26 for 31. The early season, one of the biggest problems with the Warriors is they were shooting like 55% from the free throw line. You remember, it was ridiculous. We were saying 8-year-olds were shooting better free throws than the Warriors. And it was a problem. That's one major thing they have fixed. When the Warriors go to the line, they make them pay. And it's a huge difference. It was just one of those things where, again, I know it's only Butler coming and he's helped, but the percentages have been phenomenal. So I just wanted to bring that up, something, that I forgot to bring up last time. But no. Yeah. Hey, I think the one thing about the Warriors is you're starting to feel, and again, I know I've been down on the Warriors. I'm starting to feel something special. Does that make sense, Dan? Where I know with Butler, we were getting better, but now, you brought up a great point. You knew they were going to win from Kerr speaking. You knew this game, the Warriors were, they had a big lead, but everybody, NBA is all full of runs, but you never didn't think they weren't going to win tonight, and that's something different. I think that's what Butler brings. Of course, Steph, Green, Pods, and getting Kuminga back, they have that again. Hey, they're going to the playoffs. We don't know if they're going to win the whole thing, but there's just something different about them than earlier in the season.
Yeah, and they have to be very careful because there's still a possibility that, a couple losses, they could fall out of the top 6. This is going to be crazy here. I wanted you guys to take a look at something. There's something here that stands out to me, and I don't know if anybody else sees it. Let me see if I can blow it up. Let me move it over. Okay, we'll forget that. Does anybody see?
And tonight's win clinched winning on the road. I know we use that for Giants analogy. 22 wins. They can only, they're going to have a winning record on the road, and we always know how they are at home. Huge.
Does anybody see something that is sticking out to you? No, that's not it. One less loss. I'm going to point something out to you guys. I think the Lakers might be the fakers. Okay. Take a look at winning differential, the top 8. 13.
Dead last. They're dead last.
Rockets, 5.3. Nuggets, 4. Warriors, 2.9. Grizzlies, 4.6. T-Wolves, 4.6. Clippers, 4. Lakers are barely winning their games. I'm wondering if this comes into play. This is interesting. There's still a 600 team winning percentage, so they're winning a lot of close ones, but they're not blowing teams out. I mean, the Warriors are the second worst out of that 8, which is interesting, 2.9, but they've been actually increasing. I think a lot of that, the Warriors have gotten blown out of a couple games really bad, and that's what changes that point differential. But it's interesting to me. So the schedule makers have this thing. Let's take a look and see.
I know, amazing, isn't it? The next 2 games.
Let's just take a look. Well, the Warriors have the Nuggets and the Rockets. So they've played the Grizzlies, the Lakers, the Nuggets, and the Rockets. Everybody that was in front of them going forward. And they bumped ahead of the Grizzlies. Now, can they bump ahead of the Lakers and then bump ahead of the Nuggets? That would be amazing. We know they're not catching the Rockets. The Rockets look locked into at least the 3 seed at the, I would say, is the lowest probably. But let's take a look at these guys' schedules. First, let's take a look at the Lakers. We know they've got OKC coming up twice, on their schedule. Let's pull up their schedule here. Okay, here we are, April 3rd, just finished the Warriors game. They've got the Pelicans. That's a win. They've got 2 games against OKC. I think one of them for sure is
both
a loss.
at OKC.
Right.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me to see the Lakers rise up and get one of those games. But let's hope the Warriors the Thunder can beat them twice. So, and then they've got Houston at home. I really only see the Lakers possibly losing 3 games here. I think they beat Houston at home. I should say it's a possible loss. Depends on if Houston really needs it for that 2nd seed or not. If Houston's got the 2nd seed locked up because Denver's floundered, I think the Lakers take Houston. But this is a game Sunday, Tuesday, and then a back-to-back at Dallas. Dallas needs that game. Why? Dallas is fighting for the 9 seed to have a home game. Okay? Dallas needs that home game, the first game. The 10th seed is the worst place to be in the play-in because you got to win 2 road games. And the 9 seed gives you a fighter's chance because you win that one. I think Memphis, didn't they beat the Warriors as the 9 seed a couple years back?
A couple years ago. Good pickup. And Dallas, now they got, because the last time they played, I don't think they had Davis. Wasn't he injured?
No.
When the Lakers played him the first time?
Right. So we took a look at their schedule. Let's take a look at Denver's schedule, shall we? All right. Denver schedule, see what they've got remaining. We know they got the Warriors tomorrow night. So that's a huge win. Only way the Warriors have any chance of catching the Nuggets, obviously, is to win. But tomorrow, Golden State. Then they play Indiana at home, at Sacramento. Not Sacramento could be fighting for the 9 seed or just to get into the play-in altogether. Probably just trying to get in the play-in. And then they finish at Houston. That could be the game right there. I don't know what the tiebreaker, who holds the tiebreaker. Anybody know who holds the tiebreaker between Houston and Denver? Last game of the year, that could be for the 2-3. So we'll see. So if Denver loses to the Warriors actually end up catching them in the loss column, and then they need, basically the Warriors need to kind of win out and hope everybody else loses a game or two.
I'd rather have the Warriors schedule than Denver. Denver's is tough.
Remember, Denver holds the tiebreaker with the Warriors. The Lakers hold the tiebreaker with the Warriors. The Clippers hold the tiebreaker with the Warriors. The Warriors hold the tiebreaker over Minnesota and Memphis and Houston, but they're not going to catch Houston. So this thing's going to come down to the final weekend. I'm telling you this, with the Warriors. Hopefully the Warriors just keep winning and they can wrap up, an actual top 6. So, but this was a game tonight. This was a game. Going for blood. Everybody playing. I love it. Deloading. Hey guys, let's do this. Let me do one thing here. I gotta do. How do I do this? Hold on. Okay, I think I know what I got to do. All right, I got to click here. Click there. Click there. Copy. If I can get it to paste. Come on. There we go. All right, guys. I just put the link in the chat. Anybody wants to join us, come on in quickly. Deloading, if you want to come in now. Because when Frank Red joins us, I will, we'll go back to just the 2 of us here plus Frank. So anybody wants to come in now, we'll, I thought the Warriors' defensive plan tonight was exceptional too. Against Luka, they really were putting 2 men on him. They were making everybody not named LeBron and Luka beat him. And Reeves, got hot, but nobody else really was.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody really.
I agree. And I think the Warriors did the right thing. I think if you stop Luka, you don't really care about the other 2. I think Luka is the one that the momentum, the ball, he's going to, his pace means victory for the Lakers. When you take him out, I don't think the other guys really know what to do because they depend on him so much.
Yeah. Hachimura was 3 for 6 from 3-point range. They let him kind of be. Reeves was 9 of 16. I mean, he was on fire. Like you said, this wasn't a close game if Reeves doesn't keep him in the game. We'll bring in Deloading to the show. Welcome, Deloading. How you doing?
What's up, guys?
Well, tell us what you thought tonight. I mean, I'm sure you were glued to it.
Yeah, no, that was a great game. There's a lot of just awesome things from that game. First of all, I'm gonna just start out with a negative because I have a ton of good things to say about the game. But Luka is a loser. He's a loser. I can't stand watching him play. He complains the entire game. He doesn't shut up.
He'd rather play defense.
He'd rather spend more energy yelling at the refs than playing defense. He's a cone.
Yep.
And
I
it's
called
just
him. Called him.
it's obnoxious. And he was the first person to walk off the court after the game before shaking anybody's hands or like giving hugs or anything. But I just can't stand watching him play. But um, I thought this was Kaminga's best game of the year. I
Yeah,
thought he was
played under
incredible.
control.
He played under control. He did all the little things well. He was super decisive, decision making on offense. He his first half, I think, was better than his second half. His second half, he started settling for a little more threes instead of getting to the rim like he did in the first half. But just, I thought he played incredible, especially rebounding too.
Yeah, no, they they rebounded well. Um, you know, the only problem I saw tonight that really was a little bit concerning was Draymond looked like he was a little nervous offensively at times when he was trying to do too much, but he came through in the fourth quarter with stellar defense. I mean, the one time he guarded LeBron when LeBron drove on him and then LeBron tried to go to the left and Draymond just shuffled, stayed in front of him, forced a bad shot by LeBron. That was awesome. And then obviously the big three that he made. I mean, you really don't want him taking that shot, but he took it with confidence, which was nice because he stepped right into it. He didn't have to shoot it. There was still other time on the clock. But defensively, I think he locked up Defensive Player of the Year tonight. I really do. I mean, every time you get Reggie Miller say, just hand him the trophy, that goes a long way. That goes a long way. And to make the play he did on Luka there underneath the basket, just stripped him. I mean, Lakers score there. It's getting tight, and would have been down to 5. Yeah. And wow. But what was your thoughts on some of the bench play? We really didn't see a ton of bench tonight. We basically had it was somewhat like a playoff game because he played 10, but Looney only got 8 minutes and Santos got 11 and Buddy got 13. It was really Kuminga, the sixth man, getting 25 minutes tonight. And Looney's minutes were valuable because he got, just being in there was defensively was good. Post probably had one of his worst games in a while. Buddy Hield is he's just a no-show a lot on the road. He just but to Kerr's credit, and Lou brought it up, he didn't leave him in there too long. You notice Steph played his tonight. They were able to maintain the lead when Steph went off the court, and it allowed him to get another minute or two of rest a couple times, which was crucial. So how many did Jimmy play tonight? He might have played the most. Pods played 36. Jimmy played 36. Yeah. And then Draymond and Steph 34. To me, I want to get your guys' take on this.
I actually thought Post played pretty solid. I thought he was rough offensively, but
yeah, offensively, I'm talking about.
They kept targeting him, and he was actually holding his ground pretty well.
Yeah, he did okay defensively. Yeah, offensively, he just looked out of sync. He did have that nice one little shot, I think. Yeah, but I want to get your take.
Dan, just for I forget tonight, what we saw is how it's going to be. I believe in the playoffs. Kuminga first off the bench. We're probably only going to go 8 deep. That's it.
Yeah, I think if
this is sort of like a preview.
If GP2's healthy, he's going to be in there.
Yeah, maybe 9, but you got to remember when you're in the playoffs, you got to win. It doesn't matter. That's what it's all about.
But I want to get your guys' take on one particular player. Early on in the season, DeAnthony Melton went down. The Warriors were 12-3, and they looked like the best team in the NBA. And then they went through that funk We did a video on who should take over the starting position. Should it be for Melton? Should it be Peyton? Should it be Kuminga? Should it be Healed? Or should it be someone like Moody? I said I think Moody plays best when he gets into the game and is the starting guy. They have not lost a game with Steph, Draymond, and Moody as in the starting lineup, or is it Pods too? I think it might be Pods. Correct me if I'm wrong. But is Moses Moody the quiet? What do I want to call him? Is he the catalyst in a way? The underrated guy that just is making everything kind of go? Because this guy plays solid defense, got huge reach, a 7-foot whatever, 1 or 2 inch reach. He can pick guys. He's pretty good 3-point shooter. What do you guys think of Moses Moody?
D-Lo, do you want to go or do you want me to go first? It's up to you.
I can go.
Okay,
I actually
please do.
think it's kind of a mix of both. I think they just complement each other really well. But Pajemski being on the floor allows for another ball handler to be out there, and it allows for Moody to take less off offensively. And I think that also has helped him a lot on the defensive end because he's guarding the other team's like top guys constantly, and he's done a great job since. So I think honestly, it's kind of both of them. But Moody, I've been wanting him to start for a while, and he's taken that role and played great with it. I love to see it.
Yeah, Lou, what's your take?
I think he's sort of the missing piece, of the pie. He's the one that comes in because with Butler there, he does his thing. And I think what happens is if somebody of the other four, they sort of forget about Moody, how good he is, and he makes them pay. He's almost like a silent assassin. He always seems to
what I was trying to say.
Yeah. And, that's what, the missing piece of the pie. And again, you bring up a great point. You've wanted him from day one. Why isn't he starting? You remember Kerr wasn't playing him. Nobody knew why. He's sort of like the Ramos of the Giants. Now that he is starting, he has earned a spot to stay in the starting lineup. He is, and again, I don't want them to change anything. He's been good. And what I think the key thing about him is he shows up at big times in the game. And what I mean is maybe the other team's on a 6-0 run, and all of a sudden he comes up with a great defensive play, and then he scores a huge hoop that maybe isn't the biggest of the game, but of that moment, it's a big moment. And he comes through and he plays like he's been doing it for 5 years, like a veteran.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, Moody is I just like his game, and he's growing right in front of us. We're seeing him mature. We're seeing his confidence. Remember what he said. He said I basically, rather than choosing to develop in college, I chose to develop in the NBA. So think of it this way. This is his 4th year, right?
And the big part is they extended him before this year started.
Right. That's true. Good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
This is his 4th year, him and Kuminga. You look at the advancement of his game. Kuminga never really played what you might call fundamental basketball as far as prior to coming into the NBA. He played
or even Division I.
No, he didn't play Division I. He played G League Ignite, and then who knows what he was doing, probably on the AAU type circuit, which doesn't play any defense or teach anything fundamental about how to actually play the game. Moody was able to get 1 year at Arkansas. So, but this is his 4th year in the NBA. So this is like his figure 1 year in college and 3 years first before this in the NBA. It's like this is like his rookie year. If you want to go back 30, 40 years ago, where guys had to play 44 years of college back in the days of Abdul-Jabbar. In fact, the days of Abdul-Jabbar when he was Lou Alcindor, couldn't play as a freshman.
Yeah,
and couldn't come out before he graduated. Couldn't come out until after your senior year.
Yeah.
So You know, who was the first guy? Do you guys remember the first guy to come out of
High school?
high school? Was it Moses Malone?
Yeah, but that was ABA. You know, he came out when he played in the ABA. I don't
There
know
was a
about
couple other
NBA.
guys that came out straight out of high school. I can't remember a couple of
There's
the guys'
Reggie
names.
Harding. That was
Um,
1962, so that is a while ago.
Reggie Harding? I don't know of that name. Interesting. Yeah. There was a couple of guys that came out of high school. Most of them didn't. They were tall guys. They were centers, and I'm trying to remember. But anyway, no big deal there. But the fact is, Moody is starting to really develop, and I love the way Moody goes to the bucket. In fact, he sometimes goes to the bucket with more authority than Jimmy Butler. He'll go up to the bucket, and he is not afraid of anybody. He will pump fake and go right at it. Sometimes Jimmy will pump fake, pump fake, pump fake, and then go up and throw up a brick. You know,
Yeah,
Moses,
thank
man,
God for Moody. Thank God they have the breakaway rims because he goes in like he wants to tear the whole entire backboard with it. You know, he goes in hard. You know, and then he shows everybody, yeah, that's right. You know, so no, he's an exciting player. Dan, I have a question for you in deloading. I mean, Moody is only going to improve in the starting lineup. He might even improve next year and take that next level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather have, now I'm just throwing this out there, you know, you have Kuminga who has a huge contract, but if you could have Moody to another level and find somebody just like Moody, you know, I mean, it's just something to think about because I think Moody now, Daryl Dawkins. All right.
That's who it was. That's what I was thinking. I remember I said it was a big guy. I couldn't.
Yeah, good call. Chocolate Thunder. I just think Moody might even have a bigger upside than Kuminga
All
in
around
3 or 4 years. I'm just saying, you know,
as,
because he's made a huge leap. I'm just saying, you know, he's earned his spot starting. Moody, I think his contract was what, 3 years, like 37 million. It's only 12 million compared to Kuminga, who, you know, we
I'm
know
not
is
even
probably
sure
going
is
to
it
be
that high?
35,
Is it
40.
even-
Or is
Kuminga's
it
going to
only 9
get
million a
over.
year?
Kuminga's going to get over 30 a year.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, you know,
It really depends on what. Well, we'll not. That's not the
it's time for
really
another
tonight
thing. But
game.
I'm just saying Moody has a great ceiling. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm looking at this guy where next year he's going to take another level. He may never go out of the starting lineup again. That's all I'm saying.
His
Yeah.
fit is better with the team, just in
Yeah.
general. Like
It's
there's a premium for 3-and-D guys like him, and
right.
you can only
Kuminga.
improve.
Kuminga, I don't know if he'll be with the team next year. It depends. He's either going to be with the team or they're not going to let him walk. They're going to either sign and trade him. If somebody gives a huge offer to him, the Warriors are going to have to set up a sign and trade.
Yeah, 100%.
They're just not. Yeah.
It all depends on how much he wants, to be honest.
Right.
Like that's what it will come down to. I do think they sign and trade him, but
In a perfect
we'll
world, Phoenix likes him.
KD, you want KD back so bad, Dan.
I would love that trade. Send Kuminga. Phoenix wants to pay him 38 to 40 million a year. Send him Kuminga and somebody like, I don't know what it takes, Buddy and another guy, and Trace Jackson Davis, and bada bing, bada boom, bingo, gone, goodbye. KD, Jimmy Butler, Steph, and Draymond. Come on.
Hey, Dan.
Sorry, go
D-Lone,
ahead.
I just want to ask one question, then go. I have a question. If we would have got KD, would we have the same record and be going upwards
No.
instead of Butler? Because I think Butler is such a different player, and he really fit the Warriors better. Defensively,
This year,
playing unselfish. Yeah, this year. So, you know, we were close. You know, I'm just saying, if KD, I don't think we were in the same spot that we are now. I think Butler was just different, and he fit us better. So that's all I'm saying.
I think the vibes
Go
of
ahead,
the team
D-Loading.
would have been way worse too. Well,
Yeah.
the thing I was going to say to begin with was I think you revisit the Cam Johnson scenario with Brooklyn over
Mm.
Kevin Durant with Kuminga. I think Cam Johnson, he's still young. I think that fit would be perfect. And then if you can get like a semi cheap big off the market in free agency, I think it'd be so good for this team.
Yeah.
Because
Just
KD, there's just so much baggage there. And I just don't know how that fits.
yeah. It's hard to say. Yeah. I think if KD came back and just said, "You know what? I just want to hoop. I want to have fun. I want to close out my career here with another title with Steph, you know, 2 more years or whatever it would be, it would fit the timeline." So, because Steph signed for 2 more years after this, um, KD's got a couple years, Jimmy and Draymond both have a couple years. I don't know. It's going to be somebody. They're going to get somebody. That, like I say, they're not letting Kuminga walk for nothing. So, but you know what? We'll deal with that. In the summer. For right now, this team, it's really going to depend on the matchups in the playoffs. You just
Matchups,
probably want to
everything.
avoid Denver. That's probably the first round you just want to avoid. I'm not. I do think the Warriors can play with them, but it'll be one of the toughest series. I think what we saw tonight is that I think the Warriors can match up pretty good with the Lakers now that AD's gone,
Yeah.
and I think they match up well, obviously, with Houston. I think the Warriors actually match up pretty good with OKC of any team in the West. The teams that kind of concern me is the Clippers, the Nuggets, and I know we've beaten Minnesota, but that was early on when Minnesota was just not really cohesive. They
Hurt.
were,
That's who I'm most worried about. I'm worried about Minnesota and Oklahoma, unless Denver's completely healthy, because Minnesota's playing a lot better. And a lot of times too, when you get two new players, it takes a while, but once it gets going, I mean, right now they won at Denver, something I can't remember the Warriors doing. At Denver in the triple overtime game, they've won 7 out of 10. They're on their way playing their best basketball, just like the Warriors with the playoffs around the corner.
and they're
I know,
physical.
yeah, very physical. And the one thing too is, they have big men. The one thing about too is, about Oklahoma, that team, I mean, they have a guy who will be MVP this year. And I know we all think they're young, but they're a lot different this year than last year. I'm just saying Oklahoma has the best record for a reason. They can score. It's one of those things. But hey, the
Are
playoffs.
they have a shot if they win out to win 70? Aren't they 64-12? What are
Yeah,
they?
64-12.
So they'd have to win all 6 games to get to 70. You wonder
Yeah.
if that's their goal. Hopefully, I would think that's not. Although young teams sometimes do that.
I think it's all about having home field. Once they beat Cleveland and it's assured,
Lou,
who cares about 70?
basketball? We call basketball. See this thing in this right here, this hardwood.
Yeah,
We call that a court. We call that home court.
home court.
advantage.
Excuse me.
Yeah, not
Home court
home
advantage.
field. Home court.
I think it's important, home court, especially Oklahoma. But I mean, I'm only really worried, 3 teams. I'm not really worried about the Lakers. But I am worried about Oklahoma because we all been saying the same thing. Last year they sputtered. But I think in the NBA, you have to go through real tough time to get to that top. If you look at the Detroit Pistons, they had to go through the Celtics. And Oklahoma's young. They have an exciting player, and they can score. I mean, when they play the Warriors, I mean, it's going to be like the first to 130. And they both play defense, but their scoring capability is sort of phenomenal. And they got a guy who, I know Butler's great, but, they have a guy that's sort of having an amazing, amazing year. That's all I'm saying.
I wonder what this will be like. Will this be if they faced OKC? Let's say
to go to the
stars,
dance.
let's say
A
the
lineup?
stars aligned and they met in the NBA Western Conference Finals. Are you taking the young? I'm thinking of an older team. Is the Warriors with the veterans like the Detroit Pistons and the OKCs like the Bulls?
What
Or
took
are
to
they?
get past them?
Yeah, because when did they never really did get past them? I don't think, did they? Detroit just faded out, and then Chicago just I can't
Yeah,
remember.
they
who
had to get past the Celtics because Michael was playing baseball. Remember, he left and he semi-retired.
Yeah,
So it
but
wasn't the same. But I'm just
wow.
bringing that up analogy. It's it's one of those things, and we all keep saying Oklahoma's got the best record, but we're not worried about him. I'm worried about him, and I think everyone should be. I mean, there's a reason. And if they were to play, and OKC, they'd probably be 8-5 favorites over the Warriors.
Yeah. Speaking of court, Chapman Law Group, give them a call. Mark Graves says, with that, we welcome in from the In the Dungeon show, the great big Frank Red. How you doing, Frank?
I'm smiling from ear to ear. What's up? What's up, Lou? What's up, Dan?
Hey, Frankie.
Good.
Next
And we
time
got
we got to get you your money. I know you're good about the money. You're not like Ryan that asked 700 times on the last show, and Ryan had to cut him off because we have a show to do. But he's been paid, so I got your money when you get a chance, buddy.
It's Cheesecake Factory. Where's the cheesecake? Nearest Cheesecake Factory?
That's in Union Square. But
Union Square by the Macy's. But we'll do it. I just wanted to congratulate you on your win.
Thank you. But you know what, though?
Of course.
As you know, it's really about us breaking bread together. I want to do that.
Yeah, of course.
That's all it is. I don't care about
that. And the Giants are playing well, so we got to get you to a game. We'll try to get Dan out here and enjoy front row, and you can sort of see how we work. But please, absolutely. I'm going to let Dan bring you and ask you questions after an exciting night.
Yeah, Frank, what a game. It was a playoff atmosphere. Warriors had to have this game because they fall to the 8th seed if they lose. And they really, just played a excellent game plan as far as I'm concerned. They stifled Luka in the beginning of they were two guys, they were double teaming him, they were trapping him, they were kind of cutting off LeBron when he drove, forcing the ball out of his hands. What was your take on tonight's game?
The Warriors were focused on winning the championship. They wanted to prove Draymond Green right. And I think they came out and played like that. A couple of things really impressed me. First and foremost, Pod shot 0 for 7 from 3 against Memphis. To come out tonight and do what he did, that's a big boy performance. All right. So I'm interested to see how he plays tomorrow night, but put some respect on this guy's name because, he did that in front of all of the stars in Los Angeles on a national TV game. And he was like, F0-7. I'm going to come out here and play the best game of my career and act like I belong. So I was so impressed by that guy tonight. I really was.
Yeah.
And the other thing that really impressed me was, if Steve Kerr had a brush in his finger and he's creating this masterpiece, the masterpiece that he wanted to create was Jonathan Kuminga emulating Sean Marion. He got there tonight. This is the first time in 4 years that if he could create a beautiful picture of what he envisioned Jonathan Kuminga looking like, it was his performance tonight. He was outstanding. He was 20 pounds heavier than he was as a rookie. Instinctively, he wanted to pass as opposed to shoot. He took advantage of opportunities when he was on the court. He was the best rebounder, rebounder on the court.
Yep.
Yo, I tell people all the time, I had challenges trying to visualize this guy as a 20-plus scorer on any team. You put him on another team, this guy would average 20 points a game. He was outstanding. So just a virtuoso performance. But I expect Draymond, Stephen, and Jimmy Buckets to play like they did. But the complimentary players tonight played like they wanted to contribute to a championship team. And they overwhelmed the Lakers. The last point I'll make is there's a lot of people now saying, if we had Anthony Davis, this would have been a tougher game for the Warriors
Yes,
to win.
brought that right up at the beginning. Yeah.
But this was an easier win playing against this hollow-less team in the middle defensive unit versus the Warriors. So the Warriors are like, they can't beat us. We kind of gave it away at the end, but the Warriors feel profoundly that they are a better team than the Los Angeles Lakers.
Great points.
Yeah,
Totally
Frank,
agree.
were you ever worried about the Warriors tonight? I was never worried they were going to blow the lead. Never.
No, I wasn't. No.
And and I think the big thing, and Dan brought this up earlier, when you have Luka, being sort of a baby, complaining, not coming back on defense, and then you have LeBron sort of having a tough game. They were lucky tonight that Reeves hit those late 3-pointers, or it would have been a 25-point blowout. And I think the matchup, the Warriors and Lakers, without the big man in the middle, the Warriors hold every advantage in the book. So I just wanted to bring that up. Sorry, Dan, but I just, wanted to let him go.
Absolutely.
So.
I just thought this was just a really well played game. Let me just look. I don't remember how many turnovers the Warriors had tonight. They had 13. Okay, manageable. I like to see them 12 or under.
Most of them were Draymond.
Yeah, Draymond had tonight. He had 5. Yeah, he had 5 of the 13. And that's the one thing that they've got to cut down on is stop going for the home run when you just need a single, because there are times the Warriors are up by 8 or 10 and they try and go for this impossible play, and it seems like it happens after the Lakers have cut it down and then the Warriors get a rebound and then Draymond tries to, thread the needle on something that he's just got to just calm down, just take what the defense will give you. And so if the Warriors, I don't know if it's ever happened, but I would think that if the Warriors are less than 10 turnovers in a game, I don't know if they can lose because they get the rebound. They out-rebound teams. And if you're not turning the ball over, that's a lot more shot attempts. And as well as they've got the shooters, they're going to be hard to beat if they can. And I know that's the one thing that Kerr just goes nuts over is the turnovers. It's the one thing he hasn't been able to control with this team. And they just get too much. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, like you said, though, 12 turnovers per game is manageable. The Warriors average pretty close to 30 assists a game. So if you have a 2.5 to 1 ratio turnovers to assists, that's pretty darn good. So you want them down a little bit more. They can play better. But you remember a couple of seasons ago, it was a turnover fest.
Yeah.
And it really hasn't been that this season. So
they were up in the high teens and hitting the 20s at times.
Yeah. Plus they're shooting free throws well. They're doing a lot of things that championship caliber teams do. And you mentioned like some of the, the risky passes, but think about that pass that Pods threw, I want to say, to Kuminga.
Yeah.
When he went, these guys, Jimmy Butler and Kuminga, they catch the ball. They make tough, Mike Tomlin calls them combat catches in football. That's what they're on basketball. They're combat catches. And Jimmy Butler and Kuminga, they were making those catches tonight. And again, their athleticism put the Lakers on their heels because they couldn't match up. And some of those passes are very tenuous. Yes. Draymond made some plays that he telegraphed, and those were not good. But sometimes when you throw the ball into traffic, the Warrior players have the ability to go up in traffic and come down with the ball and make easy baskets.
Yes. Great points. Great points. You got any final thoughts, deloading, before we finish up?
I just thought the defensive scheme that Kerr implemented in this game was just really well. The way they guarded Luka, just throwing big athletic bodies on him, just a mix of Guy Santos, Kuminga, and Moody, and constantly getting fresh guys on Luka throughout the game, I thought was just a really good scheme to get him tired and just let him get in his head. Because once he starts getting in that mindset where he's complaining about every play, he kind of gets off his game. So I just thought that was great by Kerr.
Yeah. Yeah. The defensive, that's why I felt like when they interviewed Kerr, I could just tell he had a confidence about him. You know how they always interview the coaches after a quarter, and just the way he had this look like he wasn't, saying, "Oh yeah, we got to do this, and this can be tough." He just looked like we got a plan, and we're gonna win this game. I think the Warriors veterans, will them to win the last two games, Memphis and tonight. I was talking with producer Ryan during the Memphis game the other night. And he says, Memphis, I think they're going to lose. I go, I don't see Draymond, Jimmy, and Steph letting this team lose this game because it's such an important game. And, you could see how vets play. What is your take, Lou? I mean, not Lou, Frank, if the Warriors end up facing, say, an OKC at some point in the playoffs? OKC's the most talented team in the league, maybe besides Boston, but do you think the veterans would overtake what happened to my camera there? I don't know what happened. Hold on here. I think I got let me get my settings here. Sorry, guys. Something happened on my camera, and there we go. I think we're back.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your take on the if they faced OKC? Would it be tough to beat this young team, or do you think the veterans would be able to find a way?
I think it'd be a tough series. I think it would go 6 or 7 games, but I think the Warriors would win for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, SGA has pretty much had a walk in the park all year because teams don't want to show how they're going to play OKC. They would pressure him, all right? So they would pressure him more in the backcourt. They would play more zone against OKC. They also would double team him. They rarely double team him with really, really smart defenders. The Warriors would do that. Second of all, unlike Detroit and the Warriors to a certain degree, they're not a very physical team. Even though they're big, they're not physical. And you need edge players to win championships. There's nobody in OKC who is nasty. And guess what? Those drives to the basket, there's no malicious intent, but the playoffs could be much more physical. And when the games get tight, it's about who executes the best. If I'm a coach and I'm playing this OKC, I might lose, but SGA is not going to beat me. I'm going to take the ball out of his hands. Even like tonight, the Warriors were in total control, but you saw JJ Redick was able to get the ball out of Stephen's hands a couple of times tonight when they wanted too late. So you can get the ball out of the hands of star players that puts the onus on the other players to get things done. They're a great team, but the lack of physicality and lack of dominant second scorer to me puts them in some jeopardy. They still might win, but the Warriors would be a tough knockout for OKC.
Wow. Yeah, it's getting exciting. We're down to 6 games to go for the Warriors, and the season ends in just over a week and a half. It ends, I believe, is it Sunday the 13th? Is that the?
Yeah, it's
Sunday
April 13th.
Okay, so here we are Thursday night, just a little over a week to go, and it's going to come down to, I would think it's going to come down to the final game against the Clippers to figure out where they're going to be seated. Hopefully it doesn't come down to that game and it's,
Who do they have left?
They have got Denver tomorrow night. Houston's, is it Sunday or Monday they play Houston?
Sunday. It's Sunday.
Sunday. Houston. And
You got
then
Phoenix Tuesday.
Who?
Phoenix in Phoenix.
Phoenix Tuesday.
Okay.
And then they have San Antonio on Wednesday.
Back at home, right? Back at home.
Back at home, and then at Portland on Friday, and then home against the Clippers on Sunday.
So there's some tough games coming up. They got some good battles. They can win all of them, but they got some tough battles.
Yeah. What do you guys think tomorrow night? Denver's coming in been probably came into San Francisco this afternoon. All 5 starters rested against San Antonio Wednesday night, which they lost. So they're rested. Warriors are coming off of a long road trip, like 2 weeks. And like I say, Denver's spent the day in the city. Probably had a shoot, maybe even had time for a little shoot around. Who knows? What's your take for tomorrow night, guys?
You want me to start, Dan? I'll go first. First of all, the line is 1.5 Denver tomorrow. Obviously, the Warriors off a back-to-back and Denver, fresh. I don't know. With Luka, I think it'll be an exciting game. I just hope the Warriors can somehow pull it out. It's tough because Denver, when they're healthy, can shoot away to victory. If not, you have the big man in the middle, Joker. And I know we all talk about, Oklahoma star, but Joker any other year would win his MVP again. He's been that dominant. I mean, the other night, all we talked about is Steph and his great game and 3-pointers, but I haven't heard anybody in the chat talk about Joker. He had 61. 17 rebounds, 10 assists. If that game would have been before Steph, you would have gone, oh my God. So, Joker's healthy and he's a problem. So if Steve Kerr can figure out how to maybe make everybody else beat him, but Joker's just a special player. And it's tough for the Warriors because tonight was a very emotional game against LeBron. First time with LeBron and Luka. So I think it's going to be a challenging game. Let me put it that way. But hopefully the Warriors, the place will be rocking, can stay close, and pull out a late victory.
What do you think, deloading?
Not only is the game huge for the standings, but I think it's a huge game psychologically for the team. Like in this last week of the season, they got a chance to beat 2 teams that they hadn't beat all year. If they can go back-to-back nights beating LA and then Denver, who they haven't been able to beat all season, I think it would be a huge momentum boost going into the playoffs.
Interesting. What do you think, Frank, for tomorrow night?
I think definitely a tough battle, but I think no one plays Joker better than Draymond. So that doesn't mean that he won't get 30. He's not going to get 62. So I think anything under 35, and the Warriors will probably win that game. The other thing is, I don't think there's another guy on their team who's capable of scoring 30 points like in the past. So the Warriors are playing really good basketball right now. I think their mission should be, if we hold Joker under 35 points, we're going to find a way to win. But it's going to be tough. I mean, they got to turn Aaron Gordon's water off, though. He can't get 38 points like he did the last game.
Right.
So,
what about
go ahead.
Murray? Is he playing? Is Jamal Murray playing?
I don't know. I'm visualizing him playing. If he doesn't play, then the Warriors have even a better chance to win. But I look at it like this. If the Warriors bench plays as well as they played tonight, they're going to win. I don't know what the score is going to be, but I think they're going to win because nobody really has an answer for Jonathan Kuminga. Nobody.
Yeah. I'll tell you somebody I think that needs to come up big tomorrow night. And when I say big, I'm talking 18 points or more. Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield at home is a different player than Buddy on the road. He's not your buddy on the road.
Right.
He's just not. But at home, I don't think the Warriors, I think they've only lost 1 game all year when he scored 18 or more. And it's like something like 20 wins and 1 loss. Something crazy.
True. No, it is. No, that's true.
Buddy has a big game, and those threes are falling, and he gets that hot hand going. That could be a big factor. So, and the other thing is, what's the word on GP2? Is he going to be back in time for the playoffs because the playoffs would start 2 weeks from tomorrow or 2 weeks from this weekend if they're in the top 6?
Yeah, they always start on Saturday.
Yeah, so 2 weeks from Saturday. So that gives him another 15, 16 days of rest. What is the diagnosis on him again? I couldn't remember what it was. Was it
So they listed him as out tonight, but going forward tomorrow, they're going to be listing him as day to day. So I think he'll
Okay.
be good by the playoffs.
what is his condition again? What was his
He,
ailment?
he had a partial tear in his shooting hand on his
Oh, a
left
ligament.
thumb. Yeah.
Okay. And his shooting hand. Okay. Well, I would think that heals up in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, probably, with just rest on it. Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. So it's nothing to do with the legs,
No.
the abductor, the midsection where that's where he's been prone. So that's good. That's good. And it's nice when he can shoot from the corner and he's wide open. Hopefully it doesn't affect his shot, but where you really need GP2 is his defense.
Right.
Yeah.
Although he's turned into an offensive player this year, the second half.
He has. He's become a 3-point threat when he's open. He's I mean, if he can I'll tell you, the thing that's been impressive to me, and we take this kind of, you brought it up, Frank, they're making their free throws, but getting to the free throw line often gives these guys a physical rest. It allows them to get their breath. I mean, NBA players shooting free throws, it's longer than the old before they put in the pitch clock in baseball. These guys take forever to shoot free throws. They'll walk around. They're talking. All they're doing, besides trying to act like they're trying to ice somebody, they're getting more rest. They know what they're doing. These guys are wiped out. They're just like, hey, let me walk through the lane. And the refs just kind of let them do it. I mean, you watch a guy take 2 free throws. By the time the ref gives him the ball, it takes about a minute.
Giannis.
Yeah. Giannis takes his full. But, I mean, they'll walk around and then they'll reset it and they get another 10 seconds there. And it's just it's quite a thing to watch. But I'll tell you, the Warriors getting these free throws, Jimmy Butler getting to the line and Kuminga gets to the line. And when Steph is resting, that's all just an extra minute here. You give that a guy like Steph that extra oxygen he needs, it's huge. It's a huge difference because look at the way the Warriors played before they got Jimmy. They were just wiped out. Steph just looked defeated. He didn't have any. He just looked like he looked defeated. He looked like, I can't do this at my age on my own. I need help. And wow. The perfect help came in Jimmy Butler.
Here's an irony, though, too. The players that the Warriors got rid of, Schroeder, he's actually playing pretty well in Detroit because that fits his style of play. And Slow-Mo is a rotational player in Miami, so I'm happy for those guys. But Jimmy Butler's presence is emphatic, right? But where he really has impacted the team is the auxiliary players have played so much better. The Moses Moody's of the world, the Podzinskis, the Jonathan Kumingas, the auxiliary players, even Quentin Post has had his moments with Jimmy Butler being here. So it's been his impact on the complementary players to me that has allowed this team to ascend towards a championship level type team because of his passing. He's a tremendous passer, great defender, good finisher inside, timely outside shooter. He's a Hall of Famer, man. This guy's a Hall of Fame player.
I've never seen, Jimmy play other than playoff Jimmy for the most part. You don't watch Miami or Minnesota or Chicago or Philadelphia play unless they're in the playoffs, really. And I don't know if he's always been this way, but he just seems to be so patient and he doesn't force things. He waits for things. You see other guys leave their feet. They get too nervous and they think, oh, I'm being guarded. I got to do something. I got to get rid of the ball. Jimmy just waits for the cutter, waits for the right time, and he doesn't panic. And
part on that, if you don't mind me going.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
because I've watched a ton of Jimmy the last few years, even not even the playoffs, but it's not a coincidence that all those rotation guys in Miami have incredible games in the postseason because
Mm.
Jimmy spends the entire regular season playing more passive and getting all the other guys involved. He gets them their shots, he gets them going because he knows when the postseason comes, he's going to have his. But he wants to have all those guys set up and prepared for when that time comes. So he sets it up throughout the entire season. So him being more passive and getting all these guys open, they're going to have more confidence going into the playoffs because he knows he's going to get his shots up. He knows he's going to get his points, but he wants all the guys around him to play well as well.
Great
That's a
point.
good point. That's a really
Yeah.
good point. And what do you guys think of this comment? Mike O says Steph should be mentioned in the conversation of GOAT. I think he's definitely in the conversation for best point guard of all time.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I like that.
I'm the biggest Steph fan in the world, but I think we should reserve that talk until he gets number 5.
Oh, if he gets number 5, I'll tell you this. If Steph finished with 6, somehow finished with 6 to tie MJ, and LeBron sticks at 4, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know who would have a feast with that would be Stephen A.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, but he and LeBron are really tight, right? They're really good friends.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's something. But
you know what? I mean, I just wish. I mean, everybody's born when they're born. All right, none of us can change that. But when we start to hear people talk about players and where they rank a certain and so on and so forth, I never saw Oscar Robertson in his prime. That bothers me because Oscar Robertson is arguably one of the 10 best players who have ever played the game. Secondly, I never really saw Jerry West do his thing. One of the top players of all time. But I did see Magic Johnson play. And for anybody who did not see Magic Johnson play, and they come up with these lines, I mean, I love Stephen Curry. But do you know what Magic Johnson would do in today's game? Magic Johnson was 6'9" and handled the ball like the best point guard. I know it's unfathomable to think, but anyone who did not see Magic play, you have no idea how good a player he was. He was really good.
And if he got to play in the era now where they let you carry.
Oh my God.
I mean, these guys carry the ball.
I mean, nobody could guard him. And he was a good outside shooter. He had a nice little push shot. Magic shot over 80% from the free throw line. He was a power rebounder. He averaged damn near 10 rebounds a game.
Yeah, Frank,
Wow.
I think you bring up a great point. The chat's probably too young,
Right.
but Magic changed the game like how Steph has changed the game with the outside shot because there was never a big guy that could dribble the ball like him and pass. And if you guys want to see, just watch, remember, without the 3-point line, Celtics and Lakers, 84, 85, 86, every year. If one of the other two teams wasn't there, they would have won probably 10 straight. That's how dominant they were. But they changed. That rivalry was so good. But if you would have watched it, and again, the chat might not even know what Showtime actually is about.
Oh,
the Lakers were Showtime.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable. It changed basketball. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Showtime as a Laker hater growing up was so fun to watch. You had to respect it. It was, and just seeing, Worthy on the flank and Magic and Worthy and Kareem and Byron Scott and Rambus and James Worthy. That's the guy, man.
Celtics had 5 Hall of Famers. The Lakers had 4 on the court at the same time.
Oh, I was watching something, guys, on Twitter today. It popped into my feed with when Larry Bird threw the ball at Bill Laimbeer.
Yeah.
And
against Detroit,
the ruckus started.
Yep.
And Laimbeer would clothesline Bird at the going up for a shot, just literally take him down like he was Ronnie Lott. Serious.
Right. Yeah.
Go watch
yeah.
it. And Bird then just jumped on Lambier and fists were flying. These dudes played in a era that was nothing. They played more physical than the NFL allows you to play.
Oh yeah. You look at, I think it was 86 where the clothesline, Lakers Celtics, probably one of the greatest series of all time. Rambis, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was because the Showtime won, I think, by 32 points. And they interviewed Bird, and Bird says, I think we have some sissies on our team. And Bird was so good, he could back it up. And the next game, you knew what was going to happen. And that one win, what happened is they got in the Lakers' head, trying to get more physical. And, Magic had a couple bad games. But again, back then, what was amazing is you clothesline, they'd have a fight. And guess what? You'd play the next game. There was nobody kicked out or anything. It was unbelievable.
What about that? What about their resident hatchet man, ML Carr?
I was just going to bring up ML Carr. He hated the Lakers.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey, the days of Boston and the Lakers, just go watch. I think it's a 30-30 special.
No,
Go
there's one
watch
right now. Seven things. Celtic one that's on Max Plus.
Yeah, but this is an older one with
the
ML
old
Carr
30-30,
talking
yeah.
and the white towel. But Red Auerbach, he was the president of the Celtics. There was no air conditioning in the old Boston Garden. And they were playing in mid-June, and it is hotter than you know what. And the humidity back there is horrible. And what did Red Auerbach do? He had the alarm go off at the hotel the Lakers were staying in at 2-3 in the morning so that they had to wake them up so they didn't get a good night's sleep. This was like classic rivalry.
The showers didn't work, humidity. It was crazy. I mean,
but the Lakers won that series. The Lakers got
one of them.
They knew what was going on. It actually backfired.
And by the way, who hit the winning shot?
Magic.
His own
Magic.
sky hook. Remember, Magic did his own sky hook. Yep.
Yeah, Magic's and look, I watched Magic take on in his rookie season. Kareem had a migraine, and they're playing the Sixers in Philadelphia. Lakers were up 3-2.
Yeah,
and Magic goes for 42 points.
Playing
center, hitting shots from outside, hitting hook shots. For me, look, some people disagree with me because I get it. This is just my take. I've watched basketball for a long time, and LeBron, I'm not taking away his greatness, but I've got 1 MJ, 2 Kareem, 3 Magic, 4 Kobe. I just like their style. I don't like the way LeBron just he flops. He cries for all the fouls. It doesn't take away to me, it takes away some of his greatness overall. It doesn't take away what he does on the court. But if you watch those other guys, MJ just played. Kareem just played. Magic just played. Kobe. Those guys, I think they had more gumption, more. I mean, LeBron's competitive as heck. I mean, he's very competitive. But those guys, man, give me those 4 guys on a team and give me Larry Bird as my 5th man. Get it? No one's beating those guys.
Well, I mean, those guys, partly because we didn't have as much access to them, but they emulated off the court what they represented on the court.
Right.
And because of that, that scope of heroism that fans had for them, it permeated their entire lives. Now, today's players, they don't necessarily get that pass, because we know a lot about them, so we're able to draw conclusions. Even tonight, like when LeBron got hurt, everybody has their own pain threshold. I'm not going to talk about that. But you would have thought that he got hit by like a bat or something.
Yeah.
And then literally like a couple of minutes later, he goes to the bench and he's back. I'm ready to go. But exteriorly, you thought that this guy was getting ready to get operated on.
Yes.
And you know that we've seen that before. You know,
Too
so I
many
think,
times. Too
you
many
know,
times.
So I
It's the
think
boy who
sometimes,
cried wolf.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, his greatness sometimes has to take a step back by the drama, the aura, or again his expression of pain, because I'm sure he was hurt and stuff like that. But the older guys put some tape on it. I'm good to go, coach. Put me back in. You just didn't see that stuff the way you see it now with some guys.
Yeah, I think when I talk about overall greatness, I don't just talk about what a guy does on the court. Like you said, off the court, there lies what they exemplify when the clock stopped.
Mhm.
Okay. Not just when the clock's moving. I mean, there's no doubting LeBron's greatness and top all-time player. You know, you can argue, hey, if you want to argue he's the GOAT of all time, there's some people who'll take that. That's fine. For
Mhm.
me, I get a little turned off to the antics, the flopping, the constant complaining of every stinking call. Look, Steph Curry, has anybody ever said a negative thing about, you might talk negative about his game at time or two, like, oh, he didn't come through in the clutch with this or that, but nobody says anything negative about Steph's character.
No.
But LeBron's constantly in the media with something going on. People are questioning this, questioning that, you know, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just different upbringing. My guess is it's probably a different family foundation that he grew up with, and Steph had it, you know, two parents home and all that, and that matters. But LeBron is unquestionably an all-time great, unquestionably. But for me, I like the guys that just go out and play, and they don't, you know, they have fun doing it. You know, there's a lot of joy when you watched Magic play, right? I don't
Yeah.
think there's anybody but Steph and Magic that have played with more charisma and joy on the court that I've seen. And, you know, that's why people adore him.
Right.
Everybody loves Magic. Everybody loved Kobe. Kobe wasn't, he was serious, but Kobe was, why did everybody love Kobe? Because he just focused on basketball, and then he helped everybody else get better and wanted to be an ambassador to help everybody else. And that's, you know, Kareem, to me, second best player I've ever seen. Just the guy was, you know, what he did with his body, 7'2", and how he could move the court. He can get up and down that court. And when he wanted to take over a game, hey, Kareem could have averaged 40 a night if he wanted to. No doubt about it.
Yeah. He's unstoppable.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, I feel really lucky to be able to watch basketball in this era, because I actually think the changes that the NBA has made the game better. You know, aesthetically, it's more fun to watch. Now, there are some individual players of the past that I wish I could watch now, because I think they would be even better. But I like the talent level in the NBA that we have right now. People can talk about when LeBron and Stephen are going to retire and Kevin Durant. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just sit back and enjoy this greatness, because there's never been more talent in the league than there is right now. These playoffs this year is going to be outstanding. This narrative that the NBA, all the ratings are down. You know what? If you look at the NBA and you assess whether or not there's quality based on the ratings, you don't know shit about basketball, because this is high-level stuff that we're watching. It really is. And it upsets me when I hear that, because that's somebody else's narrative. Watch a great game and then draw your own conclusion about what you saw. Don't tell me that the ratings are low. It could be because of a myriad of things.
Yep. I agree, man. 100%. Well, it ought to be fun. Warriors go at it again tomorrow night, and it'll be fun. Hey, tomorrow, opening day in San Francisco, Giants take on the Seattle Mariners. I will be on live with Larry Krueger on Larry's channel doing an in-game live of the Giants. And then right after the game, we'll do a post-game. I'll do a post-game right here on NorCal Sports Network. So tomorrow we'll have a full day for you. We'll probably come on with a pregame, a little pregame for opening day. And then I'll move over to Larry's channel during the game. We'll talk about the ball game as it's being played. And if you want to have some fun and watch Larry chug some beers, it should be a lot of fun. I'm not a drinker, so you won't see me drinking but my water. That's it. But I'll be chugging water with Larry.
Game's at 1 o'clock? What time does the game start?
1:30 tomorrow.
Okay.
1:35, I believe it is. Is that right, Lou?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
135.
135.
Okay, 1:35. So I'll be on over at Larry's channel, and then we'll come on NorCal Sports about 4 o'clock. And hopefully it's a winning game. And then tomorrow night, we got Warriors Denver. So full day on NorCal Sports Network. As we leave, make sure you guys give this a like and subscribe. Like this show. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. It really helps our channel. We appreciate it. And go over and do me a favor and subscribe to Frank's show. There's this the moniker right up there. In the Dungeon Show. Sunday nights, what time, Frank? 8 o'clock, 9?
9 o'clock. We generally go 9 to 11. And when you check out the channel, there's no spaces in the dungeonshow.com.
Yeah.
And I want to say thank you because I certainly got some more subscribers of people who are bouncing over to my channel after listening to me be a part of this great conversation. So thank you. I really appreciate you. Lou, I always enjoy your insights, man. You bring so much to the conversation. And
Thank you very much.
Deloading.
Yeah.
Pleasure meeting you, brother.
Yeah, you too. Thank you guys for having me on.
All right, Deloading. Hey, thanks. Anytime. Love it. We're getting close to playoff time. Hopefully the Warriors can win at least 5 of their next 6 and ensure themselves a spot in the top 6. And that's a guarantee. If they win 5 of 6, they've got the tiebreaker over Memphis and Minnesota. So, but if they can win 6, that'll be nice. So 6 might get you the 3 or 4 seed, actually. So that would be awesome. For Frank Red, for Lou and Deloading, thank you for watching NorCal Sports Network. Again, go check out In the Dungeon Show. No spaces. You got the spelling right there. Go subscribe to Frank's channel. Check him out Sunday nights at 9 o'clock on YouTube. And we will catch you guys tomorrow for Giants baseball. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Good. Home opener tomorrow. Mike will be there. Carlo P. All right, up in Utah. Good to see you, Carlo. Got me. Good night, everybody.